following article was seen in yesterday's Indian Express on the world page. And the article was explaining the strike done by the Ukraine on Russia deep into the Russian territories. Now this article is important not only from the perspective of IR, but also from the perspective of security. And as the mains is coming, a question might be asked in your examination under the security section regarding the drones. Now what this article was telling us, that Russian territories were hit by the Ukrainian drones in a precision strike when Russia was holding what we called as the Russian Davos or economic summit to attract more partnership with Russia. Now what does it do, or how drones is a new paradigm in the warfare, let us understand through this article. We'll try to understand the drone as a warfare paradigm through the example of Russia, Ukraine, through the example of West Asia, through the example of India and Pakistan, and also understand what is the India's preparedness and how India is responding to the challenges. So through this article, we'll try to understand what are the challenges that India face, how drones have altered the capabilities in a war, and what India is doing for the same, along with what general has been the impact of the drone and the warfare. So the article basically talks about the drones and the new paradigm of the war. So the first thing to understand is that what is this new paradigm? What is this new paradigm talking about? And it is talking about democratizing. This new paradigm is talking about what we call as democratizing our war trends. So it is basically democratizing how we basically go for war. What it is saying? It is simply saying that there is democratization of precision. There is what we called as democratization of precision, meaning thereby low-cost drone warfare are being used. Now, technology which was once seen that it needs to be state-of-art and billions of dollars were put in research to develop a defense technology for any country or an offensive technology for any country, now it has done what? It has reduced the cost significantly. When the cost has been reduced, even a smaller country and a weaker country like Ukraine has been able to fight Russia for the last 4 years. And they are using this using drones. So first thing it is doing is democratization of precision. The second thing that they are doing is the cost exchange. The cost exchange, for the first time, it is in the favor of the attacking country. Usually the countries which were defensive first were basically cost saving. But now for the first time, the country which is attacking is saving the cost. Because a $500 drone will be destroying millions worth of missiles that are used as an interceptor to counter these threats, or the $500 drone on some cases will even destroy billions of dollars of defense infrastructure, as we have seen in the case of country of West Asia, where third system of US was destroyed by the drones used by the Iran. Then third is platform-centric movement have been given to the warfare-centric. The warfare-centric uses the high-low mix, meaning thereby low cost, high amount of drones used in swarms are used to attack the target. So this low-cost warfare is also changing the paradigm, where the paradigm is now towards more of the warfare orientation rather than the platform orientation. So the drone warfare has reoriented the way in which the war is fought. And the impact has been that 65% of the destroyed Russian tanks have been attributed to the Ukrainian drones only. This is the first major thing. Now let us move forward. Let us understand the example. What are the proving grounds? Why the drones are again altering the architecture? Because they are going for deep sea strike. The deep strike doctrine is also playing into the picture. Earlier, it was considered that the drones can only alter or can only attack till an area which is small or closer to the international boundary. But if we go back and if we jolt our memory to this exact date in the last year, that is June 5, 2025, we'll be able to realize that in the last year on this day, Ukraine attacked deep into the Russian territories, where it smuggled the drones deep into the Russian territories using the trucks, and then these drones were remotely activated, and these drones targeted the Russian territories. This is known as Trojan model. This is known as Trojan model. In security terms, it is known as Trojan model of attack. So drones can now reach 1,000 plus kilometers inside the Russia, so no rare areas is safe in Russia. The drones are also altering the way in which we fight the war. The war is now between not the battlefields, but to target the economic architecture of the country. Wherein Russia, in this attack also, and even before this attack, we have seen that areas like that of refineries, ports, pipeline, and strategic bombers have been attacked. So what it has done the effect of erosion of Russia's strategic depth that it had more over Ukraine before the start of this war. Average wave size or the swarm of drones has further increased, and the logic of precision mass has basically been increasing, wherein Russia has to use multi-million dollars missiles through their S-200, S-400 system to counter the incoming drones from that of what we called as Ukraine. Thus Ukraine, which is a very, again reiterating the same point, Ukraine, which is very weak in compared to that of Russia, the defense industry is very weak as compared to that of Russia, but because of these drones, it has now bring Russia and Ukraine more or less on the equal footing. And this is how drones are being exploited. Defenders are forced into unfavorable cost ratios because of these drones. This was the thing that I was talking about, the Operation Spiderweb, the watershed event in the Russia-Ukrainian war that happened last year, which inflicted a cost of close to $7 billion in losses to Russia. Though they might not accept the same, but it is estimated that it costed a loss of $7 billion to Russia. This was done the last year, the exact same day, when Russia was penetrated deep into the territories, and where 1/3 of the Russia's missile cruise fleet were basically removed after this. Talking about their bombers were attacked, and this scenario redefines the asymmetric warfare that the countries can fight with each other. The same example can be taken from the West Asian crisis also, where kamikaze drones were used by Israel. These kamikaze drones were used by Israel to target Iran while activating the same within the Iranian territories. Same thing Ukraine has done with Russia. Same thing Israel is doing with Iran, activating kamikaze drones within the territory of Iran. This is what we called as Trojan technique. So this is how you basically use the Trojan model to bypass the air defenses system. Then the interceptors have been exhausted, meaning thereby 25% of all the THAAD missiles that were there used in the West Asian countries as interceptors have been now used during the present crisis between US, Iran and Israel on the one hand. So what it is happening, it is basically destroying the cost matrix, and it has been said that it will take at least 1.5 years to replenish the lost missiles that were used as under protection against Iran. So this is also changing the cost matrix and the cost asymmetry bites, wherein billions of dollars, where 2 to 3 THAAD systems were destroyed in the Iranian attacks on basically the US THAAD system that were employed or that were deployed in the West Asian countries. So a $500 drone will destroy a technology worth of billions of dollars. A $500 will stretch the response metrics of the countries where it has been seen in millions for one cost of missile. So it is altering the war architecture altogether. And this is what India also needs to rethink, because it is said that the future of warfare will be that of drone warfare. Operation Sindhu also gives us the same highlight, where we have launched Operation Sindhu post the Pahalgam attack, and where we did not cross the border, but we used deep precision strikes within the Indian territories to attack into the Pakistan territories, and the Pakistani battlefields or the airfields were successfully destroyed. So this was also a thing that was replicated during the Operation Sindhu, where the traditional nature of the understanding of drones were earlier used for only ISR. Now what is this ISR? ISR is that the drones were earlier only used for intelligence, surveillance and reconnaissance mission. But after in the Russian-Ukrainian war, in the West Asian crisis, or during the Operation Sindhu, the drones have proved their merit. And drones are now not used only for ISR, that is intelligence, surveillance and reconnaissance. Rather, they are used as an offensive tool to attack deep into the enemy territories. Then this was basically a first non-contact war that was held between two nuclear-armed states. So this is another change that we have seen. So if we summarize all the points together, that how the drone have basically rechanged the new paradigm, or basically it has rechanged the war architecture, and this can be quoted in the answer also, that is, Precision mass over platform is used, cheap iterable systems is used. So drones are used in large numbers to basically make sure that the precision systems that are used for defense are being violated. Second, cost exchange warfare. The first time attackers are at an advantage because the defender's stocks will be depleting and the defense cost is much more higher than the attack cost, wherein a $500 drone might destroy a missile of millions of dollars or even sometimes billions in case of THAAD. Then political psychological weapons. Now if you see the recent attack in Russia during their Davos, so it is what? It is a political impact, it is a psychological weapon where they want to humiliate Putin, where Ukraine wanted to humiliate Putin, attacking Russia on the same time when it was holding a summit, highlighting that Russia is not safe, perfectly impacting their ease of doing business, what they wanted to do. Then it is led to collapse of strategic depth. Now the countries that are having bombers, aircraft missiles, aircraft carriers, big defense tech are basically seeing that they are at a disadvantage. For example, see the example of US against Iran. US has practically lost the war against Iran. They have not been able to defeat Iran decisively. Or for that matter, Russia has not been able to defeat Ukraine decisively. Ukraine is using low-cost warfare technique or the asymmetric warfare technique to attack Russia. The Trojan launch model, which happens deep into the enemy territories, is also a part of this new paradigm. And then directed energy counter response is needed. So now we need microwave or lasers to counter these newly emerging technologies or problems. Let us understand what is this. What is India doing? What is India's architecture? First, let's understand India's preparedness. How is India prepared? Because you will be writing the exam under GS-3 for India. So let us see what is India's preparedness against the drone warfare. This can be asked in your examination. It was asked in the previous year also. How India is preparing itself for defense against the drone. Because drone menace is not only from the purpose of security, it is also used in drug trafficking across the border, across Pakistan and Punjab. So drones are of key importance for India. So what is the Indian architecture, how it works? So what we have done, the first step that we have taken is that we have integrated the counter unmanned air system grid with integrated air command so that there can be a seamless mix of unmanned air system with that of integrated air command. Then we have used Akash-IR. Akash-IR is now being used by Army. It has been developed by Army in collaboration with Bell, so that we are basically having a system which can be deployed by the Army to counter low-cost warfare techniques like that of drone. Then we have something which was asked in this prelims also, Sudarshan Chakra. We are developing Sudarshan Chakra. We already have S-400. We are now bringing in the new transshipment of S-400, which has proved beneficial during the Operation Sindhu. So we have increased the stockpiles of S-400, and we are also planning to increase S-200 and S-300 within our system under Operation Sudarshan Chakra. Then we also have something called as shoulder-fired system that is used for near combat battles, when basically these are used for terminal defense at the last end. Then what we are doing, we have also introduced what we call as Bhargav Astra. What we have introduced, Bhargav Astra. This is what? This is our indigenously developed, somewhat like S-400 system, though much less in capability, but we have developed this Bhargav Astra, wherein multi-layer micro-missile rocket hard kill system will be used against the swarms. When a swarms of drone attack India, we will be using multi-layer micro-missile rocket hard kill system, Bhargav Astra. Even if you remember the name, you can write and quote this in exam and you will be getting the number. Even if you do not remember the detail, there is no problem. Then we have something called as Saksham and D4. Saksham basically is that standing for situational awareness, and it uses the technique of hard kill and soft kill both. Now one thing can come into your mind, that what is this soft kill and hard kill? So we are using a mix of both hard kill and soft kill. Hard kill is like when you use the missiles. For example, in this Bhargav Astra, we use the missiles to attack and to destroy the drones altogether. But it also involves a cost. Whether they are micro missiles or whether they are major missiles, it is a cost. It is better if we use soft kill. Soft kill is basically what we use as microwaves, lasers, to basically tamper with the electronic communication system of the drone itself, such that they cannot complete their path, and basically we will be having the benefit that we can alter the path or we can destroy the communication system of the drone with the parent altogether. So that is also a technique. So under Saksham, that is situational awareness, we are using both soft kill and hard kill technique. Then we also have D4. D4 is basically drone deter, detect and destroy. This was developed with collaboration with DRDO. So we have something called as DRDO system, D4 also. Then DRDO has developed a 30 kilowatt laser guided system to basically counter any kind of drone using the laser, which is basically cost effective also. We have seen that this is the cost effect. The counter response will be now depending not on the how the countries are responding, but how cost beneficial it is. Response can be given by missiles, but it will be costly. So we are also practicing, and also we have demonstrated the 30 kilowatt laser defense system against the drone. And then we have also made sure that the army is basically well trained in the drone training, and it has been observed that there will be universal drone training given to the army personnel by 2027. So these are the things that India is doing or India has done. But there are things, a lot of gaps that are still existing. We should also know that. What are the gaps? The first gap is that electronic warfare and counter unmanned systems are still underdeveloped in India. This needs to be increased. Then there is a need for military grade drones to be increased. The drones that are of not specific use, military grade drones needs to be increased. Over-reliance is there also on what we call as over-reliance on foreign countries. Dependence on the foreign tech basically weakens our individual autonomy, and it also increases our chances of being exposed to the attacks also. Then there is also chances of ISI-backed drone smuggling happening in India for the purpose of arms smuggling and for the purpose of drug smuggling. Then cost exchange will always be a problem if we are not able to interpret the cheap drones using the technology like that of lasers, etc. And lastly, low-level radars are needed. Low-level radars that can basically detect the drone, because drones are very small in size, so they need to be detected by radars. So these are the things that India needs to focus upon, and Operation Sindhu has been seen as a reality check where India needs to change how it counters the drone tech. The future will be dependent on the drone tech, a low-cost warfare technique, asymmetric warfare technique, a technique that puts even a very small country or a weaker country in equal connaissance with that of a bigger country. So these we have seen through this we have understood what is the new paradigm due to the drone tech. We have also understood what India is doing, and we have also understood what are the challenges that India remain. So this can be asked in your mains examination, in upcoming mains examination, regarding the drone as an alteration of technique. So you should know that how the drones have changed the paradigms of a war, what is India's preparedness, and what are India's challenges. This needs to be prepared comprehensively such that you can answer any question in exam coming from this area under the security. Thank you.